Oh my, Starbucks' new matcha is so good. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Andrea. I'm 25, I work full-time, and I live at home with my parents in Toronto, Canada. And this is what I spent in the month of January. Right now, the current tracker that I use is made by OU Budget. I purchased this off of her Etsy site last year. Was I able to keep track of all my spending last year? Absolutely not. Will I try my best this year? Absolutely. Which I'm already proud of because I was able to do the month of January, and I really familiarized myself with how to use this tracker to its full extent. And without further ado, let's get started. So since I'm starting fresh with the financial tracker, I decided not to put any values into the budget section for my expenses. I just felt like it didn't make sense and that I would kind of go with the flow this month and then see how I would like to adjust or make changes for the month of February. I want to preface this video by saying that January was an outlier month in terms of how much I got paid. I get paid bi-weekly, so usually I get paid twice a month, but this month I got paid on the 2nd, the 16th, and the 30th, which reflects an abnormally high amount that I was able to put into my savings. Okay, let's get started with the most boring part, the bills. For my phone, I pay $62.52 every month. I get a discount from work, and I'm with Rogers. For Netflix, I paid $18.63. I pay for my entire family to watch Netflix. For iCloud, I spent $1.46. For my Amex, I paid $12.99. And for my life insurance, I paid $35.72. I also paid 2 of my 3 yearly bills this month. So my Google Photo subscription, I paid $146.89. I share that with my sister, but I pay for it in full. And then I also pay for my family's Costco membership. So that was $73.45. So in total for bills this month, I paid $351.29. Okay, now let's get into my expenses. We're gonna do it by alphabetical order just because it's so much easier that way. And the first category I have is beauty, and that also includes hair, makeup, body care, things like that. And I spent $10 at Costco for shampoo. If you've watched any of my curly hair videos, I just use the Dove shampoo, nothing too fancy. And then I spent $35.03 at Sephora for the dip brow. Unfortunately, I did not pay for it during the Sephora sale, which I deeply regret, but it is what it is. The dip brow is going to last so long. I used to use brow pencils, and dip brow is what I used in high school, and I decided to go back to my roots. I'm really happy with how it looks. And then I spent $67.31 on an Anua serum and the Klairs toner. So in total for my beauty category, I spent $112.33 this month. The next category is dine in. This is specifically for sitting down at a restaurant or specifically enjoying food with my friends and not at my house. So I spent $18.04 at Congee Queen. And then I spent $16 for All Stars at my friend Leanne's house. We technically did takeout, but because this was for Christmas, I'm gonna count it as a dine-in. And then I spent $12.59 getting malatang with my friend Judy, $5.90 getting bubble tea right after, and then I spent $15.58 at a Korean restaurant with my boyfriend, which was subsidized by our friend because my boyfriend changed my friend's winter tires and paid him in cash. And so I paid the difference for a meal. So technically the meal that my boyfriend and I had at the Korean restaurant was, I think, like $40.48. But because it was subsidized, I paid the difference. So that was $15.58. So in total for dining this month, I spent $68.11. Gas this month, I actually didn't spend that much. I usually spend a lot more than this, but recently my job switched locations, so I don't drive anymore and I actually take the GO train, which has been great. So I spent a total of $57.08 for gas. So for gifts and occasions, this category is specifically for any gifts I'm giving to anyone and any celebrations that I have with friends and family to celebrate. So birthdays, retirements, graduations, things like that. As long as I'm celebrating it, it will count in this category. So I spent $7.91 on hair clips at Shoppers. That was to put in my friend's Christmas gifts. And then I spent $36.72 for my friend's birthday. We are going to a pottery class in February, and she very generously paid for half the admission fee. So I e-transferred her my half, which was, oh gosh, I can't see, $36.72. I feel like I should have worn my glasses for this. Oh, gosh. So in total for gifts/occasions this month, I spent $44.63. So for groceries this month, I usually spend a little bit more than this, but because my parents were in the Philippines for the first like week and a half of January, I spent a little bit less. I don't pay for all the groceries in my house, but I contribute quite a bit. So at Costco, I spent $150.08, and then at Foodie World, which is like an Asian grocery store in Toronto, I spent $66.02. So for a total of $216.10. I actually have a paid for mom and dad expense category in my budget, but because I will also use this melatonin eventually, I just put it into my health and wellness. Again, I mentioned that my parents were gone for like a week and a half. They went to the Philippines, so they were super jet lagged. I also paid $10 out of pocket for a massage this month. My insurance from work covers, I think, $103 per visit. So I only had to pay $10 out of pocket because the massage place that I went to does direct billing. So in total for health, I paid $18.58 this month. Next category is for home. I spent $33.89 for a waterproof mattress cover from Amazon. You will see why later on. And then I spent $20.99 for Costco scent beads. I actually like to separate my Costco bills when I go, just because I don't want such a huge bill to go all under groceries and then have everything out of whack. So I like to just separate it off. I hope that makes sense. I just like to have it separate so that I know it's not part of the grocery bill. So in total, I spent $54.88 on home items. Next is my most dreadful category. In terms of eating, I have 3 separate expenses. So it includes dining in, taking out, and then buying lunch specifically at work, just so that I can shame myself. Because I know I'm lazy, and I literally mentioned this in my October reset that I'm trying not to buy food from work anymore, but because my office is changed and I'm in a new setting, there's all these different kinds of foods that I want to try, and I've always been so busy on the weekends because I like to go into office on Mondays and Tuesdays, and I'm just too lazy to make my own food. It's so bad. So let's go over it. So I work in downtown Toronto, so I spent $17 on a ramen at San Jose. It was delicious, but small. I spent $6.88 on breakfast at McDonald's. I believe I paid for one of the students that we have at work. I paid for one of her coffees, so I spent money on that. And then I got onigiri from Kibo for $4.72. A Shake Shack just opened downtown, so I went and got Shake Shack for $18.47. I got onigiri again at Kibo for $5.08. Onigiri is just so easy. See, it's so bad because I really justify it that I'm like, oh, it's like $5, it's nothing. Girl, it adds up. Like, let's lock in. And then I spent, did I mention this? $5.38 at McDonald's again. $11.35 at Jersey Mike's. Again, the Jersey Mike's just opened, so I wanted to go and try it out, but I did make a TikTok about it / YouTube short about it. Please go and watch it. It was delicious. And then I spent $6.25 on rice cakes at Kibo. As you can see, Kibo has me like in a chokehold. That place is friggin' delicious and it's so accessible. And I need to stop going there. Please, Kibo, if you see me, just like put like a picture of my face and just like cross out in front of the store. Like, please don't let me in there again. Like, it's awful. I love spending my money there. The next category is paid for mom and dad. So again, with the Costco receipts, I do like sectioning things off, or just at least like putting it into categories. So I know specifically what I spent on groceries, home items, and then usually for Costco, I just like to pay for my mom because I don't like asking her for money when I pay for stuff. As like a child of immigrants, that's just like how it is. And I also live at home. I need to pay them back somehow. I paid $29.25 at Costco for my mom. I can't remember what she bought. $8.99 buying Subway for my mom. She was really craving it, so I bought that for her. I gave $30 to my mom because there was a funeral in the Philippines. The person I do not know, but I just gave money anyways. And then I paid $50 for hydro. Usually every paycheck, I give my mom $50 to pay for the hydro bill. But this month I spent a little bit less, and you will see why in the next category. So in total, for paid for my mom and dad, it was $118.24. Next category is pet, specifically my dog Biko, which he really wanted to start off this year with a bang. As you can see by the dates, it was January 3rd. We had to go to the emergency vet hospital. He ate like a wrap that like goes around your finger that you put in the freezer for like swelling and stuff. TLDR, we had to call pet poison control and we had to bring him to the emergency vet. The emergency vet bill was $560.61, and then the pet poison control consult was $131.74. My dog is fine now, but that was genuinely one of the most terrifying experiences that I've ever had in my life, and I never want to go through that again, and I never wish that upon anyone. Next, I spent $14.99 at Costco for his treats. Whew! So in total, for the month of January, I spent $707.34 on my dog. The next category is Presto. If you don't know what Presto is, it's a like a transit card that you can load, that you can use for transit in the Greater Toronto area. Like I said, I work downtown now, so I commute via the GO train, and that gets quite expensive. Remember how I said I didn't spend a lot on gas this month? I spent it on my Presto. So this month I spent $90 reloading my Presto to get to and from work twice a week. The next category I have is my Tagalog lessons. I used to have this in my fixed expenses before, but sometimes I like to have more lessons in a certain month or less lessons in a certain month. These days I've only been taking my lessons once a week. Before I used to do it 2-3 times a week. I've decided to lessen the load on that to focus on other things, but I am still doing my Tagalog lessons. And again, this month was super long for some reason. So usually I pay this only once a month, but I paid it twice this month. I have 2 entries for this category. Every entry is worth, I believe, 1 lesson per week for 4 weeks. So that is 8 weeks worth of lessons here. My last expenses category is takeout. I spent $12.33 at Starbucks. I believe I bought something for me and my boyfriend. And then I spent $8.60 at a Chinese bakery. Every Sunday when I bowl for my bowling league, there's a Chinese bakery right beside where I bowl, and I simply cannot resist. I love bakery items. And I also just love supporting locals, so I spent $8.60 there. Next, I spent $18.75. That was on Indian food, specifically Spice Club. Delicious, yum, 10 out of 10. I friggin' love Spice Club. And then next, I spent $4.60 at Lemon Lily for a tea latte. I wasn't actually planning to spend money on January 25th. I recall this day was last week. Because it was for a work event and I knew there was going to be food there, but it was outside of work hours and I got there a little bit too early and I didn't want to be the first person there, so I searched up like coffee places near me so that I could hang out before everyone came. So for example, let's say they said, come here at 2:30. With transit, I got there a lot faster than anticipated, so I didn't want to be the first one there and like super awkward. So I decided to search like coffee places near me. I don't even drink coffee that much. I love tea, as you can tell with me drinking matcha here on the side. And then I ended up walking to this coffee shop and stumbling upon Lemon Lily Tea Latte. It is delicious. I spent $4.60, which is like nothing when you think of like a locally owned business, especially if it's like loose leaf tea. So that was great. Didn't expect to spend that money, but no regrets. And lastly, I spent $60.90 for fish and chips, which I paid for my family and friends. So in total for takeout, I spent $105.18. Lastly, let's look at my savings for this month. I'm pretty sure that's where everyone is super intrigued. Again, I will preface that I got paid 3 times this month. Usually I get paid twice a month because I get paid bi-weekly, which explains why I have a higher rate of savings when we look at how much I budgeted for it. With my expenses category, I didn't want to put any specific budgets in there for the first month at least, because I want to see how my habits looked first and then for my budget based off of that. I didn't want to set unrealistic expectations for myself and then get sad when I didn't meet them. So I just didn't have a budget for that. However, for my savings, I do have a budget because there are certain timelines and goals that I want to meet. And so I have a budget for that. Again, this budget is for 2 paychecks in a month and I got 3. So my budget for my FHSA this month was $2,200. My actual savings was $3,301.40. The $1.40 was, I think, money that I got from my Wealth Simple account, from my Wealth Simple cash account. So I just put that money into my FHSA. For my TFSA, I budgeted $0 for this month. I'm not contributing at all to my TFSA until my FHSA is maxed out, and it should be maxed out by April or May. I believe April though. Can you guys hear my dog barking again? Next is my emergency fund. I budgeted $50 for it because in December I was quite happy with where I was with how much I had in my emergency fund, but I decided to put in $200 this month because I had to take out, what was it, like $700-ish, $600-ish to pay for my dog's emergency vet bills. So I decided to contribute a lot more this month, and then slowly I will hopefully get to where I was beforehand. Next is the vacation fund. I budgeted $250 for this month and I ended up putting $375 in. I am planning to go to the Philippines and Korea this year, hopefully in the fall. So I want to save quite a bit of money for that. I am planning to spend all of my Amex points for the flights, but then I also have little mini trips, potentially cottages that I will do this summer and this spring. So $250 every month just sounded right. I don't have like a specific amount that I wanted to save. I guess I'll see how it goes when it comes to planning and then adjust my budget for my vacation accordingly. So next is my Bigo fund, which is very ironic because I had to take money out of my emergency fund and not my Bigo fund when he had to go to the emergency vet. And the reason why is because I spent the money that was in his sinking fund on his Christmas gifts. So I bought him, so in December, I bought him this new bed that's down here. And then I bought him boots and a jacket. That was like $175, I think I spent in December, which in retrospect, he didn't necessarily need it. But at the time, I only really used my Bigo sinking fund for like treats and stuff because my sister pays for his insurance and his kibble. I pay for all of Bigo's fun stuff, which is one of the reasons why I decided to pay for the emergency vet bill. My sister pays for all the important stuff. I just pay for like silly things. And my sister also doesn't live at home and has a whole mortgage to pay for. So I decided to pay for it myself because it made more sense to me. So lesson learned, I will be putting more money into Bigo's sinking fund. So I budgeted $50 for this month and I was able to put $75. Next is my occasion sinking fund. I budgeted $60, but I realized that I have a lot of birthdays and celebrations for next month plus Valentine's Day. So this month I was able to put $185 into the occasion sinking fund. And then lastly, my bills sinking fund, I budgeted $225 and then I actually put in $320. So what I've done to land on this specific number was I added up all of my bills times 12 and then I added my yearly bills. And then I divided that by 12 to see how much I should be saving per month. And then I added like a little bit extra on top of that. Sometimes, like, you never know, there might be some unexpected bills that come up. My bill sinking fund is super active in the way that I contribute and I take out a lot of money as the month goes on. Okay, so guys, my totals this month, I spent $351.29 on my fixed expenses. For my general expenses, I paid $1,790. And then for my savings, I was able to save $4,656.40. So in total, what I spent and saved this month was $6,798.01. And then I have $279 that I can roll over to next month. Woo! And so that $279, that is what I get to spend for the next 2 weeks until my next paycheck comes in. And that's how I budget every time I get my paycheck. I like to put all of my money into my sinking funds and then have money left over, which I can use to my discretion. And that is it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any requests for any financial videos I should do, please let me know in the comments and I definitely will make them. Thank you for watching. Bye.